Cinéma vérité. Cinéma vérité UK, US French cinéma vérité. Truthful cinema is a style of documentary filmmaking developed by Edgar Morin and Rouch, inspired by Dziga Vertov's theory about Kino-Pravda. It combines improvisation with use of the camera to unveil truth or highlight subjects hidden behind reality. It is sometimes called observational cinema, if understood as pure direct cinema, mainly without a narrator's voice-over. There are subtle, yet important, differences between terms expressing similar concepts. Direct cinema is largely concerned with the recording of events in which the subject and audience become unaware of the camera's presence, operating within what Bill Nichols, an American historian and theoretician of documentary film, calls the observational mode, a fly on the wall. Many therefore see a paradox in drawing attention away from the presence of the camera and simultaneously interfering in the reality it registers when attempting to discover a cinematic truth. Cinéma vérité can involve stylized setups and interaction between the filmmaker and the subject, even to the point of provocation. Some argue that the obvious presence of the filmmaker and camera was seen by most cinéma vérité filmmakers as the best way to reveal the truth. The camera is always acknowledged, for it performs the act of filming real objects, people, and events in a confrontational way. The filmmaker's intention was to represent the truth as objectively as possible, freeing the viewer from deceptions in how those aspects of life were formerly presented to them. From this perspective, the filmmaker should be the catalyst of a situation. Few agree on the meanings of these terms, even the filmmakers whose films are being described. Pierre Perrault sets situations up and then films them, for example, in Pour la Suite du Monde 1963, where he asked old people to fish for whale. The result is not a documentary about whale fishing. It is about memory and lineage. In this sense, cinéma vérité is concerned with anthropological cinema and with the social and political implications of what is captured on film. How a filmmaker shoots a film, what is being filmed, what to do with what was filmed, and how that film will be presented to an audience, all were very important for filmmakers of the time. In all cases, the ethical and aesthetic analysis of documentary form, see docufiction of the 1950s and 1960s, has to be linked with a critical look at post-war propaganda analysis. This type of cinema is concerned with notions of truth and reality in film. Feminist documentary films of the 1970s often used cinéma vérité techniques. This sort of realism was criticized for its deceptive pseudo-natural construction of reality. Edgar Morin coined the term around the time of such essential films as 1960s Primary and his own 1961 collaboration with Rouch, Chronicle of a Summer. Filmmakers associated with the style. Pioneers: Robert Drew, Richard Leacock, D.A. Pennebaker, Gene Rouch. Others: Lindsay Anderson, Tony Richardson, Carol Rise, Phil Rise, Shirley Clark, Chris Marker, the Maysles brothers Albert and David Maysles, Frederick Weissman. Selected cinéma vérité films: Primary 1960, Chronicle of a Summer 1961, Happy Mother's Day 1964, Don't Look Back 1967, Portrait of Jason 1967, Kitticut Falls 1967, Faces 1968, Salesman 1969, Gimme Shelter 1970, The Plaintive Steve Cranes as recorded by his younger brother Jeff 1974, Ray Gardens 1975, The War Room 1993, Legacy. Many film directors of the 1960s and later adopted use of the handheld camera, techniques and cinéma vérité styles for their fiction films based on screenplays and actors. They often had actors using improvisation to get a more spontaneous quality in their talks and action. Influential examples include director John Cassavetes, who broke ground with his film Faces. The techniques, if not always the spirit of cinéma vérité, can also be seen in fiction films from the Blair Witch Project to Saving Private Ryan. Cinema vérité was also readily adapted to use in TV fiction programs such as Homicide, Life on the Street, NYPD Blue, both the UK and American versions of The Office, Parks and Recreation, and Modern Family. Documentary series are less common, but Cops is one of the famous non-fictional examples, even if albeit as tabloid television. It has also been the subject right for parodies and spoofs such as the acclaimed mockumentary film This Is Spinal Tap and Emmy-nominated TV series documentary Now, the latter paying homage to the style of such CV classy.